Time for the latest earnings outlook now with Research Director Shiraz Mian. Well, we're coming up to the end here for the Q1 earnings season, so let's tie up some loose ends. Bottom line it for us. What's the bottom line on Q1?
The bottom line is that it's an average to below average earnings season. The growth rate turned out to be better than what preseason expectations were making us believe. But overall, nothing to be excited about.
What about on the margin front?
Margins, when you take the aggregate for the entire S&P, modestly up about 35 basis points on my count. But when you take finance out, finance, as you know, is the second largest sector after tech. Tech was down on the margin front. Finance was up. When you take finance out, it's down both from the previous quarter as well as year over year.
So when you look at it in the rear view mirror, what actually stood out for you this earnings season? I mean, we had record earnings at one point, right?
Yes, the total earnings in Q1 are the highest that we have ever seen. So yes, in terms of the total dollar level of earnings, we have reached the high point. The question is, are we going to just top out here and go down from here, or just stay here, or keep improving? And so the growth in Q1, 2.8%. Total earnings growth on about 1% lower revenues. And revenues, as we have been mentioning in the past, was the big story in Q1. About 2/3 of the companies came out with positive earnings surprises, which is about in line with how companies have been doing in the past. But only about 40% of the companies could beat top line or revenue expectations, which is significantly lower than history. So revenues were weak, margins have topped out, and that's producing a big question mark over the growth picture in the coming quarters.
I was going to ask you, you still skeptical about second half growth that everybody's talking about?
Yes, I am. The consensus view that as that's showing up in the bottom up estimates that we aggregate to the entire index is showing up as 10% earnings growth, total earnings growth in the second half of this year, and then a further 11.5% growth in 2014. And as you rightly put it, I've been skeptical that those growth expectations are way too optimistic, given the questions about macroeconomic growth here as well as globally, and then the margin picture. Margins have topped out, and if you don't have top-line growth and you cannot expand margins, then where's that growth going to come from?
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
That's right.
Thanks for the insights. Don't forget, you can always keep track of Shiraz's remarks on a daily basis because he pens that Ahead of Wall Street column on our website. Link to it right off the homepage. That's where you get his latest thoughts on the markets and anything else earnings-wise that happens in between seasons. And he looks ahead a little bit there, too. With Shiraz Mian, I'm Terry Ruffalo.